Hi, I'm Jen Lehman, co-founder of Property Elite, Chartered Surveyor and APC Assessor. At Property Elite, we provide training and support for the APC, Asset RICS and FRICS qualifications. We cover all routes, pathways and geographic regions via our team of specialist consultants and trained assessors. This also includes the senior professional, specialist, academic and direct entry routes. In today's podcast, I take a look at the APC final counsellor sign-off process, which takes place via the Assessment Resource Centre, also known as ARC. This is a common area for confusion and stress, easily avoidable with advanced planning and communication with your counsellor. Make sure you help them to help you and don't make the process any more challenging than it needs to be. So how does the sign-off process work? Before your counsellor can sign you off, you need to have completed the following on ARC. Photo. Ensure you upload a professional photo which clearly identifies you. Ensure this is in the correct orientation so you don't end up looking sideways at your assessors. 2. You need to ensure that you have the right number and levels of competencies selected. This informs what appears on your competencies page, so you should be able to identify any errors relatively easily. 3. Mandatory and technical competencies. You need to have uploaded your summary of experience wording for each level of every competency via ARC. These then need to have been approved by your counsellor, although we'll look at this process later on. Next up is CPD. Ensure that you have sufficient hours recorded and that the box turns green, i.e. complete. If you've logged in complete hours, it will show as orange, started, and you'll not be able to progress with your application. 5th is the ethics assessment, which you need to have undertaken within the required period. 6th is the case study, so ensure that you've uploaded this in PDF format and that it's been approved by your counsellor. Next up is that you have a counsellor selected, and you'll need to have informed RICS of this to make sure that your counsellor is allocated to you on ARC. You then need to ensure that your counsellor approves your application on their own ARC system before you can submit. This requires them to already have approved all of your competency levels and case study. Next up is the declaration. You need to have gone through this section after being approved by your counsellor. The button may remain greyed out until your counsellor has finished their approvals. Last is the proposers and seconders. Without entering these details, you cannot submit for final assessment. This box may also be greyed out until you've been approved by your counsellor. You'll know that you've successfully completed each section because the progress box will turn green and show completed. If anything's still highlighted in red, not started, or orange, started, you will not be able to proceed with your application. Candidates and counsellors often face difficulties in the submission process via ARC. Some of the most common are: number 1, the counsellor hasn't approved the case study by clicking on the orange Started button. Each time you make amendments, it'll need to be sent back either for feedback or approval. So do make sure your case study hasn't been sent back to you rather than being approved. Secondly is that your counsellor may not have clicked on the Competencies Selected button to individually approve each and every competency level. Sometimes the progress button will show as green, completed on their screen. However, if they click on the button, then a long list of competencies may appear underneath which they can then sign off. Third, has your counsellor clicked the approval button relating to your whole application? They need to do this as well as approving your competencies and case study separately. And fourth, your counsellor may not have completed their declaration and click Submit Approval. This will allow you, the candidate, proceed to submit via ARC. So how can you identify what the issue is? Firstly, ask your counsellor to check their notifications using the envelope button at the top right-hand corner of their ARC screen. This may help to identify where their approval or input is needed, such as to sign off individual competency levels. Second, check the ARC screens of both you and your counsellor to identify where you've become stuck in the process. Check what boxes show either as red, not started, or orange, started, and take action to resolve these. Also, make sure you check whether all of your individual competencies have been signed off, even if this progress button shows green, complete on your counsellor's ARC. If you cannot meet in person, why not use screen sharing to work together to identify potential issues. Third is to ensure that you meet regularly with your counsellor, either online, telephone, rather than in person at the moment. Doing so will help you to identify potential issues and enable you to both become familiar with ARC. Number 4 is don't leave the sign-off process until the last minute. Give your counsellor sufficient time to navigate ARC and fully review your submission. It takes quite a lot of time to individually sign off each competency level, particularly if your counsellor needs to return any feedback to you via ARC for amending. And lastly, even after your counsellor's sign-off process is finished and you can proceed to the declaration and proposer and seconder stage, if you don't have the latter arranged, then you'll not be able to submit. These signatures are now provided electronically, so you'll need to know their RICS number or email address. Your proposer and seconders then need to electronically approve you via their own ARC, which may take time to access if they are busy or have never used the system before. Make sure you read the RICS ARC guidelines from cover to cover, as these may also help to identify where any issues are occurring. So in conclusion, prepare early and work collaboratively with your counsellor. Being aware of the potential pitfalls will help to avoid any delays and additional stress in the sign-off process, as well as maintaining a good relationship with your counsellor. That's it for today's podcast. Remember, you can book in your free 15-minute consultation via our website. We can also provide feedback on your referral or prelim review report. If you head to our website, you can also access our other free support resources, including our ebook guides, podcasts, videos, quizzes, blog, and CPD newsletter. We can't wait to work with you, so thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week.